Hello and welcome. It's Vintage Super League time once again. I'm Randy Bueller, being joined by the Rich Shea. How are things going?
What ho? Things are great. Things are great. We're here for another edition of Brewers Challenge here in the Vintage Super League. And that means that we get to see what 4 people have come up with for the week. Well, I know what one person's come up with, but I'm waiting to see what the other 3 have done.
I know what I've come up with. The only person right now who knows all the lists that were submitted for Vintage Super League is Athena, our behind-the-scenes producer. She's the one responsible for that insane intro. That thing's still good. We're 4 weeks in. I'm still like, wow, this intro is really sweet.
I am blown away by that. I think that intro is just, it's fantastic. I've never felt more like a superhero.
There you go. Yeah, hats off to Athena for that good work. Anyway, she's seen all the deck lists. She says the deck lists in the groups worked out really well.
Okay.
Doesn't normally comment, but she couldn't help but throw a little bit of a tease in. Apparently, next week in particular is going to be worth tuning in for. I'm sure tonight's going to be great too.
Oh, yeah. Well, I hope tonight's worth tuning in for. If not, I'll be amazed. I'll be absolutely amazed. I'm sure it will be.
I actually feel just a tiny bit guilty because if I had seen the list that finished second in the challenge on Saturday, I would have just run it. I don't know if you guys have seen this list. There's a vintage challenge every Saturday. It's like 10 a.m. Pacific time.
Great tournament.
It's one of the highlights of the sort of vintage week, up there with Vintage Super League, let's say. The deck that finished second 3 days ago was a Mishra's Workshop deck, sort of, except instead of any of the creatures, it's a Dark Depths deck. So it's sort of a cross between a Workshop deck and a 2-card Monty deck. So it's got Dark Depths with Thespian Stage. It's also got Leyline of the Void main to combo with Helm of Obedience, which if you have that, if you helm them, you keep going till you hit a creature, but Leyline of the Void means stuff never goes to their graveyard, so you just deck them. Okay,
that's awesome. Now,
I'm not done.
There's more.
You haven't seen the list yet, it looks like.
I have not seen the list. Was this Thim? I've seen him play. No, okay.
No, it was a guy I didn't know before. I actually played against him in a league yesterday. He was telling me about it. But wait, there's more. There's, oh god, I'm going to blank on the name of the card. The mirror, the artifact, mirror mage, what is it called? It's a 3-mana artifact creature. Sorry?
Mirror Gallery?
No, the one that you can copy any land artifact creature.
So you can copy Dark Depths?
You can copy Dark Depths, so you get 4 extra. It doesn't run Hex Mage. It's just got this 3-mana artifact creature that can copy Dark Depths that you can workshop into play. 2 colorless activation. Copy my Dark Depths. You know what else that guy can copy?
Time Vault?
Time Vault. That's what he did to me in the league. He just copies Time Vault, takes your turn. It untaps, of course. Copy the Time Vault again.
Man.
The deck looks so sweet. Oh, by the way, you get all the workshop lock pieces just to disrupt your opponent, none of which affects you. Deck looks so. Mirage Mirror. Thank you very much in the chat. Mirage Mirror is the artifact that does.
We don't even have contraptions yet, and it sounds like this guy's just assembling them anyways.
If I had seen that list a day earlier, I would have just run it. I don't know. I've never run a workshop deck in VSL. That one I definitely would have. I mean, I like my deck, and I think my deck is pretty sweet, but it's not quite Mirage Mirror copying Dark Depths inside a workshop shell.
Few things are that cool. That sounds pretty fantastic.
Doesn't sound like you ran it either. Oh well. I'm hoping somebody saw it in the league.
I didn't run it. In fact, I hadn't heard of it or seen it, but I wish I had seen it because this sounds pretty swell.
Yeah, I guess the list got posted on Sunday, or maybe it was Monday before the list got posted.
I spent the weekend at Grand Prix Providence, and while I didn't play, I got a chance to hang out with a lot of really cool people, met a lot of friends there that I don't get a chance to see, and of course, the most important part of any Grand Prix is that I got to play some sanctioned vintage.
Nice. How'd you do?
I won, and I picked up a bye to Eternal Weekend.
Ah, very nice. Yeah, Eternal Weekend, not that far away. Just a couple of weeks.
Just a couple of weeks, and it'll be Eternal Weekend in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. If you haven't been, Pittsburgh, fantastic city. Randy, I know that you've lived there before as well.
I did, yeah. We never actually overlapped at Carnegie Mellon, but we certainly both have some CMU in our background.
That's true. That's true. It's a great school and a really just a beautiful city.
Yeah, the secret most people don't know is that it was my wife that actually went to Carnegie Mellon. She was a grad student in chemical engineering. I was like a mile down the road at Pitt in history and philosophy of science. But all the Magic I played. The scene at the Pitt Student Union was, multiplayer free for all, nothing wrong with it. But I eventually found the Pro Tour players and started hanging out with what became Team CMU. Eric Lauer, eventually Mike Turian. That crowd was awesome. And anyway, yeah, Eternal Weekend. It'll be great to get back to Pittsburgh. I'll certainly be there.
So you're going to be there. You're not playing, are you?
I'm playing the old school event on Thursday. I am doing commentary for all 3 days of the main event. You don't like old school. Don't give me that head shake, Richie. Old school is sweet. I don't care what you said. Fine. It's not identical rules to 1995 Magic. It's still awesome. Go ahead. You can try to refute me, and you're going to fail, but I'll give you the floor.
There are 3 things that I find slightly distasteful about old school. The first is the name. It calls itself old school. It's newer than modern. That's not old. Second,
you're playing with cards that are 20 years old, 25 years old.
Second, it allows collector's edition, but not proxies.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Some of the collectability stuff around the edges, different people have different rules, and we could argue about those.
And
that doesn't make the format, that doesn't make it less awesome to have a grip full of like moxes to power out JM Day Tome, because that's all you can do with your massive amounts of colorless.
And my third gripe about it, is they have format-specific errata. And I think that's a very dangerous path for anything to go down. I remember the olden days when you go to a game store and they would have house rules, and now everything's different and topsy-turvy because the game shop owner decided that he would rather there not be intentional draws or something like that. And that was a very real thing back in the day. And errata-ing any card in this old school bracket SIC, they errata Chaos Orb such that it works very differently than is printed.
So I will grant you that the old school format would benefit from sort of a worldwide standardization. I actually, the thought has crossed my mind from time to time. Maybe I'm the guy who could step in and sort of get the folks in Scandinavia and the folks in California, the folks in Chicago to all just at least buy into one central sort of organizational body. Totally agree that that's true. But I don't think Chaos Orb should be fundamentally changed. Like, you can't realistically have a tournament where Chaos Orb is legal in the printed wording because people have to spread their cards out too far. So there's no debate about how Chaos Orb works. Every single person who plays that format in every single place it's played agrees, okay, you pick one card and flip to try to hit the one card. Mana burn counting is weird to me. Like, yes, right. There should be a standardized set of rules such that you know what to expect no matter where you go and play.
They should either make it work under the old rules or make it work under the new rules, but new rules plus mana burn is pretty arbitrary.
I agree. For what it's worth, if you wanted to go old rules, they should put Mirror Universe back the way it used to.
Yes, of course they should.
Why keep mana burn around and not restore Mishra's Workshop to its Mirror Universe to its rightful place as a kill card?
You know, I'll tell you what, Randy. I would be willing to work with you to make this format. If you want to work on a set of unified rules that actually make sense, so long as you're willing to reconsider a name other than old school, I would work with you on this project. And I think we could actually make this work.
Consider? Sure. I'm always interested in somebody's perspective. I doubt you're going to find a better name, but we digress. We're here not to play old school, although that's what I'll be doing at Eternal Weekend. And then I think I finished that story. I'll be doing commentary for both the Legacy, the Vintage, and the two top dates on Sunday. But we're here to play Vintage.
We are.
This is now, everybody in the league has played 3 matches. We've all submitted new decks yesterday. You're going to get to see 4 of those decks on display tonight. Rich is playing tonight. I am playing tonight. And the other 2 folks that we've got queued up for you are Bob Maher, he of the undefeated last week, and Rodrigo Tagores. So the 4 of us will essentially play a full round robin. Basically, we all play 3 matches, and if we're not playing, we'll be in the booth doing commentary, and that will be the matches that you have on display tonight. Did you have any thoughts when you saw the group? me, Bob, and Rodrigo as your opponents?
Well, let's see. I thought that you're most likely to play either Merfolk, Dredge, or Ridiculous Combo.
Okay.
If I were Bob, I would just get Dark Confidant in all my decks, and I wouldn't even be upset if he has Dark Confidant in every single one of his decks.
Sure.
That's just the thing that makes the most sense. And Rodrigo, I don't really know what to expect.
Yeah, no, I didn't think a lot about it. I mean, everybody's range is so wide at this point that it's. Mm-hmm. I like the way this year's format lets us not have to care too much about who we wind up playing against.
I agree.
Play some vintage to see what happens.
I think that makes the most sense.
Looking forward, by the way, next week's group is going to be Rachel Agnes, Aaron Campbell, Eric Froelich, and Paul Rietzel. So there you get a good look at them. Like I said, if Athena has teased that this will be particularly fun from a deck point of view, I also think there's some nice matchups there.
Oh, absolutely. I think this will be very enjoyable, and I'm interested to see what each of them brings to the table.
Indeed. Paul's always good times. Yeah, it'll be fun. I don't know. Is this the week Aaron plays Dredge? Does she have some other workshop deck?
It would be absolutely brilliant if Aaron Campbell decides not to play any Dredge. Because you have to assume that if Aaron doesn't play Dredge next week, Aaron certainly is going to play Dredge in the third week, so...
She's still only one of 11 possible opponents, though. Like, she's less than 10% of the metagame, so I don't know that even if you know she's going to play Dredge, it doesn't throw things off that much. I don't know. It's a fair point. What that leaves left over for the third group, by the way, Reed Duke, Steve Menendian, Kevin Cron, and David Williams, which means...
Yeah, Steve and Kevin, the old remnants of Team Mean Deck, are going to be duking it out.
So many insane showdowns a week coming up October 17th. I know a lot of people wanted to see the two of them throw down. I'm guessing they'll be okay together in the booth as well as
they might have a little bit of experience at collaborating on some sort of project like that.
Just a little bit, yeah. There's so many insane
best friends for since I've known them. I've known them both a long time.
Yeah, no, it's true. I actually played some vintage with them back in the mid-2000s, like, was that 12 years ago? Star City would have those occasional big vintage tournaments. And
those were great. That's why I can say that I won a Star City.
You know what else they were? They were unsanctioned, which meant a Wizards of the Coast employee was allowed to play in them. So.
You're right. I remember that you showed up. You were wearing Mean Deck attire, and
I have a Mean Deck sweatshirt. It's true. Team Mean Deck.
I remember we did a draft at one of those, and I won the draft with 2 win conditions on my deck. To show you guys how long ago this was a Ravnica draft, and I think I had a 3/2 flyer and a 2/2 flyer, and like 7 walls in my deck.
Original Ravnica was good times.
Oh, that was such a fun format to draft.
Yeah, that tournament was one of the first places where Dredge ever got played in Vintage too. I mean, that was just when Icarid had come out, and the Frigorid deck was starting to run around.
Right.
Extended format at the time, so
pre-Future Sight. So you didn't have all the components that would actually factor into the eventual Dredge deck.
Right.
It was
no Bridge from Below, but you didn't need Bridge from Below. Like Icarid is good enough.
Did you have Nether Spirits?
Wow, I don't remember exactly. They were definitely tested. They were definitely tested. I think Ashen Ghouls were better. I think it was Ashen Ghouls and Icarids, but I might be. I know that that's what the extended version of the deck was, so I might be crossing them in my head.
It was a really exciting time because you get the idea that in Vintage there's never anything that's new, and this new archetype burst onto the scene, and it used cards that nothing else used. It played in a way that nothing else played, and it was really exciting. So watching the birth or the unbirth, I guess, of Dredge, watching the reanimation of Dredge was a really cool and exciting thing.
All right. Speaking of really cool and exciting things,
all right,
how about we go watch round 1?
That sounds cool and exciting.